Morning guys, thought I'd do a quick video on how to install the Naked Lady mud flaps onto a Stomper semi. This should work with just about any mud flap. It's a pretty simple principle. There's a raised area right on the mud flap that actually fits right into the battery cover. So just center it on the cover, pop it right in there. If it's a little bit tight, sometimes one thing I do is I take a pair of pliers and I squeeze down on that raised area, because what happens on these battery covers is this area here, you see how it's stretching a little bit there? Over time, that actually bends out on some of these if they've been used quite a bit. That's why a lot of times I think the flaps are missing, because they just fall out. So I made mine a little bit oversized to fit in there pretty tight. As you see, they don't fall out or anything. One thing I have noticed on the Stomper semi trailers is that the holes don't stretch as much. There's more plastic material back here, so that area is pretty rigid, but they still fit right in there. Usually you just got to push a little bit and kind of center them in there. There we go. Once it's centered, it's in and it doesn't fall out. Had a little bit of trouble with a buyer. He bought some on eBay and he claimed they wouldn't fit. He was putting them on outside of the hole area, which, as you can see, they still fit over there if you off center them, but they'll fall out. And he said after a few messages of instruction, he said he finally figured out that he didn't have them centered. Once he had them centered, they stayed in there, but he still went and left me a negative feedback last night, and he ended up kind of attacking me on one of the Stomper groups about it, so had to end up giving him the boot. But anyway, I just wanted to put it out there on the problems you can have with these things being a little bit weak and sometimes stretching out there. You know, people hold 3D prints to a different level than they do the original parts. The original parts failed on some of these. It was because there were problems. These holes stretch. That's a Stomper problem. When I make mud flaps, I try to compensate, but I can't compensate for weak areas. So if yours has barely been used and it's not stretched out, then these are going to fit tight. If they're stretched out, it's going to fit loose. But as you see, I've made that area a lot larger there for that reason. So there should be no issues with my mud flaps fitting. There should be no reason why I have a negative feedback this morning from this buyer. But obviously he has a problem, and it's not mud flaps. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this short little video. Stomper on, guys.